Welcome to the FSM Sales Confessional, the show where real sales reps share their toughest struggles completely anonymously. From losing big clients to clashing with management or just feeling stuck, this is your space to be real. Each episode, I pick a few letters that hit hard, and I respond with honest, tactical advice to help you move forward. No fluff, just real talk. It's Bring Your Dad to Work Day. Welcome back to the FSM Sales Confessional. I'm your host, Jenna Quaranta. I'm also the Director of Sales at HPG Brands. Thank you, Promo Corner, for giving us a home for these conversations and continuing to invest in education for this industry. Promo Corner, guys, they have some really cool things happening right now, including articles and content and some really incredible, talented people putting stuff out there. So when you're done here, obviously, go to Promo Corner and click around a little bit and find something to help you grow the business, all right? So today is a little different for me and for you guys. My dad is my guest. His name is Bob Quaranta, and he is an extremely successful businessman and someone who has spent decades in selling, and we will get into that. And he's also been leading salespeople and building a family, leading me, traveling, and adapting as business has changed. But today isn't going to be his life story. We're talking sales, no father-daughter answers. So let's get him in here. Dad, thank you for being here. Welcome, Bob Quaranta, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. You've kind of overblown my who I am, but I appreciate it.
Well, that's who you are to me. Welcome to the FSM Sales Confessional. And first of all, I can't thank you enough for saying yes to this. And I wasn't entirely sure how you were going to respond. And your email, I wasn't shocked that you were, questions out of the gates. You started qualifying right away, and so I appreciate you being here. Thank you for saying yes.
Yeah. Well, it's my first rodeo, so we'll see how I do.
I think you're going to do just fine. I think you will. I spend my entire life and my life work, as you know, developing sales reps. And you've watched me really build this from the ground up and put a lot of work into it. And what I believe is sales comes down to work ethic, business, leadership, and really how you treat people along the way. And I really gathered that from you. So I started interrogating you right away. What year did you start selling?
So you're freezing up a little bit, but you're good right now. So I started in 1969, back when the Pony Express was still running, I think. But it was a lot different back then. But I think the sales techniques that was used back then are still important to use today. Obviously, technology today has made a huge difference with sales as far as how it speeds up the process. But so when I started, and I think my philosophy was when it was to always be honest, humble, have a sense of humor, have a smile like you just exhibited when you were giving your introduction. I mean, people want to see and do business with people that are positive. They don't really want to deal with people that can sometimes get negative. So I never wanted to be argumentative. I always wanted to be responsible. I wanted to build custom rapport, the most important thing. And I just wanted to be successful. And I knew hard work was the answer to it as well.
Well, I appreciate that. And I really wanted to set you up to help me serve the industry. And for the reps that are maybe driving around listening to this right now, trying to become that future leader, this is it. And I think what you just described is basics, right? Just basics, relationship building fundamentals. And I appreciate you saying that. So you started back with Trammellville in 1969. And for those of you that don't know, my dad was in the trucking industry for quite a while, but through your time at Trammellville, you went from being a sales rep to being VP of sales and then to more. Walk me through how you believe sales has changed now as a retired gentleman back in the 60s. How's it different? How's it the same?
Well, I mean, our industry was a lot different than what your industry you're in right now. It was, we had the different product lines, and knowledge of the product was really important, as it is today. But I don't know, the only thing, like I mentioned earlier, that has really changed is the technology. I think the approach to selling, that'll never change. I think one of the things that we want to find with our customers, what their pain is or what they're experiencing is, and a salesperson we can do everything we can to help them correct and alleviate that pain they have. Um, we talk about rapport and how important that is in the customer relationship. There are some cases in our industry where you didn't have time to build a rapport. So knowledge of the product and how you presented it, not only your product, but your company, was very important. And I think today that still holds true, even though it might be a different type of product. I mean, being positive about your company and your product are very important. That people, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. I love what you're saying about.
Customers don't want to hear negativity about your company. They only want to hear the good things about your company.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love how you mentioned you don't always have time to really even prepare before the encounter. It's so important, yes, your product, but your company's services and what you can even offer. And that's why in the academy, and maybe I should invite you to one of the sessions, but I talk a lot about doing a self audit and just spending time on your own website. What is your company saying you sell? And so I love that. Yeah. So you went from being a top salesperson to becoming VP of sales.
Well, there was a step in between there. I became
a
branch manager in 1981, and I was the branch manager we had two branches, Pico Rivera and Fontana. Pico Rivera was a full line dealership, parts, sales, and service. And then Fontana was a parts only. And then in 1990, I became vice president of the Western region. And that encompassed, there were now 3 branches. We had one of them in the Bay Area, and then there were 17 dealers. So branches were treated a lot different in terms of how we approached it as opposed to the dealerships, because dealerships were privately owned. So you're dealing really with owners with the dealerships, whereas with the branches, you're dealing with employees.
So juggling all that and that step, thank you for walking me through that step. I'm taking notes on my own dad. That's really cool. That's a cool step of your career. But what advice would you give today's sales reps and today's leaders who are trying to balance career success and being a parent at home and just being present at home? How'd you do it? Because you did it well. How'd you do it?
Well, for me, I always made it a practice that, I was devoted to the company I worked for from morning till 5 or 6 o'clock. When I came home, that was behind me. I never talked business at home. I felt that was something, number one, I didn't want to do. And number two, I didn't think it was something that the family wanted to hear. So I always tried to leave my business at business. And when I came home, it was just the personal life. And I think that's important. Some people have a tendency to talk all the time about business, and it's good, but sometimes it can be too much.
Yeah.
I wasn't referring to you.
I'm calling myself out. Oh man. Well, no, that's you were very present at all of our sporting events. And so I wanted to ask you that, like, how did you make it happen? Because you didn't really bring work home with you. And sometimes I've asked myself, if my dad had a laptop, if my dad had the resources sales reps have now, would you have been working at night? I don't think so. I don't know.
Well, I did have a computer. Trailmobile finally got into the modern age back in the mid 80s. But
trucking company.
Yeah, right. Well, we're a manufacturer, not a trucking company.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I would. It's like when I was going to your games, and of course I coached you and John both in Little League, and I was blessed that even though I had a responsibility for the Western region, my travel, I could arrange it where I could always be home for the practices, or I could be home for the
math homework.
Games. Some people aren't that fortunate. Like you, when you travel, you sometimes go for a week, 2 weeks at a time. I never experienced that in my business career because I was part of the Western region, and that was always pretty close. I did handle parts of Canada as well. Yep. So I'd go to Vancouver or Calgary, but you could still do that in a 2-day or 3-day trip.
Yep. Well, and as we're on this, talking about this, what changed in your mindset when you went from being a sales rep, a top producing sales rep, to leading the team and being responsible for the quota? What changed?
Actually, not much. I mean, it was obviously nerve-wracking because we had about 70 people at the branch, and all of a sudden, I'm a salesman that went into becoming the branch manager. So it was a different role, and it took a while to adjust to that. But I never just changed my philosophy on how I wanted to treat people and how I wanted to see the direction of the company go. I always was able to treat working for someone as though it was my money, especially when I went into management. We were responsible for budgets. We had, revenue we had to achieve, and we had expenses we had to control. And those were really the Bible for you as far as running that business. And you every month we had financial statements, and we wanted to see where we're at in relationship to that. So the people that were underneath me, I wanted to always meet with them, but I always wanted to talk to them in a way that was never demeaning, but always just to find out what some of the issues were and try to tackle them. And fortunately, we were pretty successful all those years I was the branch manager.
Yeah, you are. And I also I got to go to work with my dad quite a bit, and I loved going to work with you. And I didn't ever dream that I'd end up being a sales trainer and have an opportunity to serve others like this. But I loved the sales part of your job, and I loved going from office to office, and I loved hanging out with your secretaries because I loved the business side of it. So thanks for that opportunity. I really did enjoy that.
Well, if I would have had you as a trainer, I would have been much more successful.
Hey, I really was just following you and mom, truthfully. I mean, really, I just paid attention. You guys,
Yeah,
the way that mom ran her business and you ran yours, I just paid attention, and I just made a note. You said nothing changed, right? You were the same at home with your customers, and you
yeah,
were the same person, when you were open and honest. And I think that's just, who you are. And I think that's just probably the framework you follow in life, and that translates into sales.
right.
So, anyways, but I got a question for you because I did make a note, never changed. So, did you work out on the road? Because I never asked you that. Did you like have a hotel to work out? Like, did you work out in your room? How did you bring fitness into your leadership on the road?
Well, I did. That's back I started running in the probably mid 70s, and I ran for 35 years. So running is easy to work out. I mean, I
Yeah,
didn't do a
yeah,
lot of I didn't do a lot of weightlifting, but I always had my tennis shoes. So no matter where I went, I always ran. And I look back on that and I said, how did I do that?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I was able to always when I traveled to do exercise because running's pretty easy. Just put on your
yeah.
pants, you go out, you're out for a half hour, 45 minutes, and you're back.
Yeah, go for a walk. I'm so blessed to be in Whistler, Canada next week. American Solutions for Business. If anyone's out there listening, thank you for having me next week. But I'll be there with HPG, and I'll be teaching a wellness session. Actually, I didn't even get to tell you about this, Dad, but I'll have a 13-minute block with three other women in the industry that have a wellness and a fitness background as well. And
Mhm.
my portion is all about mobility and just using your own body. And I'm really talking about the power just behind walking. And really,
Yeah.
again, you have your shoes, you can go walk anywhere.
Well, exercise is so important. I've exercised all my life, and I think it just keeps you in a good mental state. That I remember I'd come home from work sometimes and I go, oh, I'm dragging. I
Yeah,
don't want to go running. But
yeah,
as soon as I ran, I just felt like $1 million afterwards.
yeah, yeah. I mean, again, like just try to follow your example. So it worked
Yeah.
for you. I'm hoping it works for me. So
It worked
um,
a little bit.
little bit, little bit. Well, if you're okay, I want to shift gears into AI. I kind of gave you a warning shot that I was going to pick your brain on AI a little bit. You talk about AI more than some of the customers I coach during the week. But you're retired, right? Yet you're one of the people I know that really is passionate about it, and you use it daily. You use it for everything. So, how are you using it today? And what advice would you give a seasoned sales professional who's intimidated by using it?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm not an expert on AI. All I
I
do is
know.
go to ChatGPT, and you got Gemini, and you got Claude, and Meta. Now I just found out Grok, they don't give you free AI. They used to give you like so much in a 24-hour period, but now with Grok, I think you have to sign up, but I may be wrong on that one. So I use AI because I'm not working anymore. I'm retired. It's not like I'm real sophisticated on what I use it for. But to give you an example, You can take, a result from a MRI or from a ultrasound that you have from your doctor, and you can plug that into. I've been using Chat GPT because they seem to be a little more thorough, and ask for the explanation of what the results were, and it's really amazing the feedback it'll give you. And I've discussed when I've done that. Some of my doctors that I went to, I've discussed it with, and they use AI. I would never use it to, ever to say the doctor is wrong or try to use it against the doctor. But I think it's very informative what it can do. I just had here's another example, but I use it for historical references. Like just this morning, I said, what was the population in the late 1800s through 1930? And how many bad hurricanes and wildfires were there? Well, it turns out the population was pretty low back in the 1800s, and we had the worst hurricane ever in the late 1800s. We had the worst fire in the early 1900s. So just historical facts for me. I don't want to get into.
No, this is great.
And then our trash compactor is built in. Now listen to this one. It's built in. So Linda puts in a hard piece of plastic offshore, or maybe I did that. I think I did that. Anyway, the trash compactor sticks, and if you can get your finger in there and hit the little blue button, it'll start. And the blue button didn't come on. So I took a picture of the trash compactor. I took a picture of the little button that I could squeeze in there, and I sent it to ChatGPT. And I said, I got this Crush trash compactor, and it stopped. What should I do? Well, the AI takes if you want to search the web, just go to ChatGPT. It'll search it all within 5 seconds. It comes back with what I should do. He says, if you can't get into unplug it, go to your circuit breaker, turn off your circuit breaker for 10 minutes, come back, turn it on, and it should work. It worked. I mean, things like that. So it's one last example, and I'll get off of AI.
No, it's great.
We were doing our kitchen remodel here in the last couple months.
It's beautiful, by the way. Beautiful.
Thank you. So I took a picture of the existing kitchen. We got maple cabinets, dark granite, marble, floors that I don't like. And I said, take that picture and change the floor to the sample I gave him a picture of. Put this quartzite in as the countertop and the backsplash. Change the cabinetry to European style, painted white, and give me a rendering. Came back and I got a new kitchen. Now I had to tweak it 3 or 4 times to get it to exactly how I wanted it. But I mean, that's amazing that you can actually do that. And you can do that with anything. Our fireplace mantle, I says, show a picture of the mantle painted white and show it with a stained brown, just to get an idea how we wanted to, change it.
Right.
So, I mean, I use it for comparisons. Like I just bought a little stick vacuum for, cleaning the floor, and it gives you it goes right to the web. It gives you you can do it, compare it to a Dyson or anything, and it'll give you that information. So in sales, how I would use it is, if you're trying to research a company, if you're trying to find out, maybe what you can do to help your sales initiative on any deal, ask ChatGPT. I'm telling you, it's creative. It really is. You can use it for writing too. I try not to do that because when I write, I want to try and be my own creativity, have my own creativity in what I say. But it's wonderful for writing. I mean, it's like unbelievable.
I love this, and I took notes, and I want to piggyback on what you said. I'm going to translate that into sales for my industry, for suppliers or distributors. Guys, it's the same, right? ChatGPT, your rolling rack. ChatGPT, your showroom. ChatGPT, your presentations, your table as you're setting up. I love what you said, Dad, because I've never thought about like throwing something in and saying, make this look a certain way and feeding it. Who knows how that can inspire sales reps on my side to present differently, right? So I love that. And I think that I love that you painted the verticals that you're using this for, right? Medical use and just kind of fixing things, handyman kind of stuff. So thanks for answering that. And I think that's quite interesting. And you gave me some ideas actually for myself. So enjoy that chat, Dad. Enjoy. What was the one you said was not giving free trial anymore, by the way?
Broke.
Okay,
And
thanks.
I went
Okay.
to it, and they'll give you free for 7 days, and then they want $30 a month. I don't use it enough to want to
Yeah.
pay for it right now. I may start, but at this
Yeah.
point, I'm just trying to, because when I was doing the kitchen, I ran out of time with ChatGPT, so I took their model and put it on Gemini and had them
Mm.
finish it.
Mm.
Because I
Smart.
had still had time. But I think ultimately these AI companies are probably going to go to all a fee basis. They're going to probably do away with how much free time they give you, and then I'll decide if I want to. I probably will, but I'll have to decide that when
Well,
it
maybe
happens.
we'll have episode 2. We'll bring you back to continue the AI conversation, and you can give us an update on your findings.
Yeah, but
That'd be
maybe.
great. Maybe maybe if you're available.
Yeah.
I want to shift just really into sales and getting back to basics for sales reps. If you could coach one salesperson today or one sales leader for just 5 minutes, what would you tell them to stop doing immediately and start doing instead?
Okay, so I started to. Obviously, you gave me this question. I started to write down my answers, and I started looking at my answers, and I said they're okay, but I don't know if they're the right answers. So I went to ChatGPT and I said, I posed the same question you gave to me. And what they came up with is some of the things I had said, but it was much more professional and constructive than how I would have done it. To give you an example, what? To
I
give
love
you,
this.
to give you an example, like I said, stop doing and start doing. And it says talking more to the customer. And that's what salesmen always do. They tend to have a tendency to talk too much. I know when I first started, that was one of my weaknesses. I think a salesman always needs to follow the 70-30 rule: 70% listen and 30% talk. And then it said, stop leading with features, lead with customer problems. And that pain I talked about, it says, stop assuming you know what the customer needs, and don't, confirm their needs by asking follow up questions. He says, stop trying to close too early. Demonstrate value before discussing price. And the industry I was in, you didn't really close too early. We could have a deal that would start from inception to finalize. It might take 3 or 4 months. It was just heavy equipment is just a little bit difficult, a different type of selling. It says stop giving long presentations. I mean, if you find yourself giving a presentation and you're getting, I mean, I was guilty of that sometimes because sometimes I didn't have the opportunity because I'd be calling on dealers and I didn't have the rapport with the customers they were taking me to. So I would be giving a presentation. I could see they were getting bored. And once they were starting getting bored, I changed the subject. I went off the presentation. I just wanted to, ask questions and find out more what their needs were than to trying to sell the product. Uh, and stop avoiding objections was another one. Stop doing, answer the all objections to me are the best way to get into the customer's needs and wants is by answering them and giving them the answer, hopefully that they want to hear. And then for me, the biggest thing is follow up. Follow up is so important. How responsive you are to your customer, to me, is the most important thing. If you get a phone call from a customer and you're not there and you get a voice message, you always try and call them back as soon as possible. I mean, within an hour or two. Sometimes you leave a message and people will call you back the next day. I mean, people want answers and they don't want to wait a long time. And whether it's a phone call, an email, or a text,
Wow.
being responsive is probably the most important thing you can do as a salesperson. It shows that customer that you're really interested in him and you want their business.
I mean, just mic drop.
Yeah.
That was drop the mic. Go like this. Put your hand up and go like this. Just go like, yeah. Let go. You dropped the mic. There you go. Yeah, that was incredible. That I took notes and not just that wasn't a father-daughter answer. That was you're my mentor. You're a sales leader and I'm a sales rep, So thank you because I loved the avoiding objections. Thank you for that. I'm going to play around with that in my head because I wonder if I do that. So thank you for bringing that up. But I love that.
Yeah.
I got a question for you. What makes somebody worth promoting?
Well, I mean, obviously, it's their performance. I think that plays a role, and their initiative and their attitude towards uh, just people, whether it be the customer, whether it be employees, to the company, and if they want to be promoted. Some people are really content at what they're doing, but to me, you wouldn't want to promote someone that doesn't demonstrate drive and ambition and desire, and has the qualities to, uh, and to really be accountable to for the company's bottom line. Now, sometimes in sales, you're not accountable to the bottom line. So I am saying that from a leadership role, being accountable to the bottom line when you work for someone is so important. So you have to treat, as I said earlier, you have to treat that money, that company money, as it's your money. The only difference between running a company, and in our case, we were isolated from our home office in Chicago. So we had complete control of everything. I was able to make every business decision. And I made every business decision, and anyone I would want to hire, I would want to make sure they had that same attitude, like it was my money. The big difference between running a company and owning a company is when I went home at night, if we were down $30,000 in cash flow and I had bills that had to come up, I didn't have to worry about that. When you own a company, those are things that, really cause ulcers. So, I mean, but you still want to have that attitude because you're working for someone that is furnishing you with an employment, a job, benefits, and you want to be loyal to them.
Yeah, that was no, I'm really happy you're here. I took a lot of notes, and I think for the people listening, I'm going to share this with even just friends, Dad, right? Like, just this is just life lessons, right? Like, respond to people, right? Get back to people, right?
Right.
Transparency, have some drive, ambition, have some self respect for yourself. So, um, best salesperson you have ever hired, what made them different?
Um, Gosh, I mean, when I went into the management role, we had already three established salesmen at Trailmobile. Uh, I didn't hire him, but uh, I had one gentleman named Dave Barrett. If you saw the Leslie Nielsen movies, he looked exactly like Leslie Nielsen, and he was an ex-engineer, so he had technical knowledge as well as sales skills, and he was just dynamic. I mean, he would get on a deal and he would just, I mean, he'd have a quote folder this thick. But that's the type of industry we were in. I mean, back then, that's how you did it. You may do it different today. Uh, and once you build a rapport with someone and you get that repeat sale, that initial presentation is, you don't even have that any longer. But I hired, two or three salesmen that were good. I probably failed in that department because I didn't hire anyone that was really dynamic, that really did a great job. The people that were there established when I was there were really the pros and the ones that really did a good job. And it was because we had a lot of obstacles were being on the West Coast. All of our manufacturing was on the East Coast. So we had a 2,000-mile disadvantage to some of our competition, mainly utility trailer who had a plant in city industry. And of course, Hyundai came in and put a plant in Tijuana. So we had a massive freight difference, not only from a cost standpoint, but um, from a price a delivery standpoint. So I mean, there were some disadvantages that some people had a hard time dealing with. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, if I actually have some questions for myself. It's like I have some distributors, right, that I coach that come to me with questions that I feel like you should join some of the coaching calls I do, because really I'm thinking to myself, man, my dad could be a consultant in this industry. You really could be. I think
I'm
you're so.
retired. I'm retired, honey.
I'm sorry. I know. I'm just saying. He's
55
retired.
years working. I'm done.
He's retired, but golly, man, you're speaking language and you're speaking
Yeah.
what some of us have to deal with. Truthfully.
Yeah.
HPG deals with us, right?
Yeah.
So with some of our brands. So
well, I just want to say one thing. So with some of the disadvantages we had in the West Coast, a lot of the salespeople looked at that as a real negative. And in a sense it was, but I did everything I could to turn it into a positive. Like when we had a plant in Charleston, Illinois, and a plant in Fremont, California at the same time, production was shifting to Charleston, and all the salesmen were saying, "Man, they're afraid it's gonna be costly." We were able to triple lease the trailers out, which means you put a load on it. So the difference between the cost to manufacture in Charleston and Fremont was about $2,500 a trailer. So for me, I looked at that as a positive because I know people are price driven. Some are, some aren't. And the people that were price driven, the fact that we could get equipment out of Charleston, Illinois, it might take 2 or 3 weeks to get it to us as opposed to one day like it used to be. I looked at it as a positive. Other people wouldn't do that. They would say it's a negative. They're not going to be able to withstand that 3 or 4 week delay. So, I mean, it's just mindset, I think, a lot of times, to turning those negatives into a positive.
I mean, just in life, right? I've watched you do that in life across the board. So I think it comes back to what you said, Dad. It's just it's who you are, right? I mean, you're this. That's how you operate in life, right? You turn things into a positive, and you always try and serve others. And I think that's just how sales reps should wake up, right? We're here to serve others and collaborate and be transparent and be honest. And again, I can't thank you enough for saying yes to this. I wasn't sure. I've been wanting to ask you for a while, but I wasn't sure if you'd say yes, and I sure am glad you did.
Well, thank you. I was hesitant. It's not something. It's the first podcast of my career and probably the last one. So thanks for having me.
Well, you know what? I don't know. I mean, are you retired from podcasts as well? I mean, you never know, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, you came in really prepared, and I want to build value for the industry and continue serving the industry, and you did help me do that today. So thanks again for being here. Anything else you want to add? Anything you want to say?
No, just live every day to the fullest and get joy out of life. And that will come from our Lord and Savior.
Mic drop. There you go.
Amen.
Well,
all right.
There it is. Thank you again, Promo Corner, for creating a place for conversations like this. And guys, don't just be here to consume my content. Please go to Promo Corner. Please look around. There are some incredible people putting out education that can help you grow your business. So become better. That's the only way we can grow this industry together. And you can change your life out of it. So, Dad, thanks again for being here. And we'll see you guys on the next FSM Sales Confessional. I'll give you a call, Dad. All right. Bye, guys. Have a good Friday. Cheers.
Bye-bye.